I'm Hayden McEvoy, founder of A-Team Tuition and the A-Game podcast. I grew up with ADHD, went from failing the first 9 years of school to becoming a straight-A student. Since then, I partnered with over 100 schools and helped over 20,000 students become A students through the same method. This podcast is exactly how we've done it. Let's find your A-Game. Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the A-Game. We've got our first ever guest here for our interview podcast segment, which is Cam McEvoy, my little brother.
Hello.
And so today we're going to dive right into Cam's story of extreme success, but we're going to go right into a deeper level. Like, I've had the privilege to be able to watch you go from literally being born through to winning the Olympics and winning 2 world titles. So I think there's some really cool insights for us to unpack.
Sure.
And I want to particularly talk about some key moments, like when you were up against the wall, essentially, and you were either going to give the sport away or have a crack at creating something remarkable, which you did. So we're going to unpack that, and then I'm keen to then talk about the actual process of coming up with an idea that's so radical, and then how that became a plan, and then how that was executed, and how that led to literally one of the most extreme success stories there is, winning a gold medal at the Olympics in the hardest event in swimming to win. So to kick off, I reckon we talk about where it actually all started back at the McEvoy Olympics, led by me. If it wasn't for me, you probably wouldn't have won the Olympics. Yeah, do you want to tell us about that?
You could take that angle. Like back when I would have been, 5, 6, 7, you decided to come up with your own McEvoy Olympics in the backyard. It's a pretty normal thing to do. So I remember watching you on the computer. You're on Microsoft Word. You're creating these word art documents and figures. You're creating these heat sheets. We had a 12-meter pool in the backyard, and you created these heat sheets. And it was me, it was our younger sister, it was yourself. We had the different races, the 1 lap free, 1 lap fly, whatever it was. And then you'd create all these random people that didn't exist, imaginary people. You put them in, make up
like
their
teddies
time.
And stuff.
Yeah, and then even our dog was a part of the competition. And we'd get up and we'd go down. You'd like marshal us in. We'd dive in. You'd time us for whatever lap we'd do. Yeah. But you always made it so that I got second to some imaginary dude or something like that. And you printed out these ribbons to give, and I was always like the silver ribbon. You got every gold ribbon. Brittany did all right. She won. She lost a few of them as well.
Lots of fourths.
You even had a relay. You wanted to create a relay with the 3 of us, but we needed a 4th. So you put our dog as a 4th member, and we won the relay, lo and behold, which, So it started at a young age. Obviously, where like as a family, we were very, sport oriented, competitively driven as well. Of like, you're creating bloody fake Olympics in our backyard. It expanded outside of swimming in the pool too. Like, we lived near a lake. We had these giant McEvoy triathlons.
And the swing jump?
Yeah. So not long jump. We had to make it more extreme. So we'd go down, there'd be the sand pit with the swings in there, and you'd have to swing and then jump as far as you can out of it. And the record ended up being out of the pit. So we're landing on like gravel and shit at the end of it. So actually some very, very fond memories around then, which was really good. And it goes into like obviously I've gone on, I've stuck to swimming and reached some pretty cool heights, but even outside of that, like we'd be on school holidays and you'd sit us down and just like create a fake school, and we'd just be taught, you'd teach us what you learnt in school, like in the term before. And like, I'd be 1 and you'd be teaching me like grade 4 mathematics or something like that. I have no idea what the hell I had no idea what you were like, what it was though at the time. I'd be looking at it and be like, what are these symbols? I don't get it. But that was just within you. Like you created stuff, you let us go and do it. It was like a full immersive experience. And then with you going on and creating A-Team and taking it to where it is now, it's just kind of like within us to do that. So humble beginnings on both sides.
Absolutely. How many years do you reckon we did the Olympics in a row?
A lot, I reckon. I reckon we're
I think
up
it was
there.
multiple times a year.
So we started with us, and then we started to like rope in the neighborhood kids, and then we'd get our mates to come along as well, and
like James
track
Lockhart.
records. We'd track records with that. A few injuries here and there, but we did it. We did it for a very long time.
I remember one of the last ones. The last event was like this mega marathon where we had to do all these laps.
Yeah. It went for hours as well.
And then I
was
just
nuts.
lost interest.
It was like we went full ball for years on end, and then it just like dropped. Like Andy in Toy Story, just dropping Woody and then moving on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I remember there was a couple events where I would deliberately try to make you get second, and then you were getting better. And there was a couple where you beat me, and I was like, I'll give him this one. So he actually wants to play again.
Because you stopped watched it, but I'll never forget. Like I'd come in, you'd create this fake time for whoever it was that would win. I'd beat it, and then all of a sudden, some new guy would appear with a quicker time. So it made me get better. Like if I couldn't win the McEvoy Olympics, I'm not going to win the real Olympics.
Was the blue ribbons at those Olympics as epic as winning the real Olympics?
I'd have to say the Paris Olympic gold's just a tad better than the Microsoft Word Art ribbon that I got given, but sentimentally they're pretty close.
Absolutely, but you can see how, like, as the culture of like our family back then was just about, we just loved competing, and I remember it was never like toxic or negative. It was always exciting and fun, and
that's why we did it for so long.
Yeah.
And that's how we were able to rope in other people too, because it was a nice environment. It was fun. It was just doing dumb stuff and enjoying it, and making something out of it. So it was good.
Absolutely. Before phones,
before
mobiles were
phones,
invented.
before iPads.
So we were always out having to find stuff to do. And I still remember, I can't remember if it was one of the events, that Tivoli Hill. There was that massive hill that we went down, and we had to skateboard down the whole hill. And I remember you were like 4 or 5, and you forgot to wear shoes and put your feet down.
We were sitting down, and I didn't think. So I launched down this hill. It was like, the incline was like that. I got about a quarter of the way down and just thought, how the hell am I going to stop? So I just put my heels in on the ground, and it just
I remember
cut all the skin off the bottom of my heels. And it was rough.
Maybe that's when you started walking on your tiptoes.
Yeah, maybe. We'll
never stopped.
We'll say that. But like, I think an hour later, I went home to Dad. He just wrapped it up in I don't know, bandages, and I went to soccer training that afternoon. So I was like 5. So,
and I think the next day we challenged. There was another girl in our street, Hope, and we challenged her to do it on rollerblades.
Yeah,
and she broke her arm, unfortunately.
That's not great.
And that's probably when the Olympics got reviewed. There's a royal commission into it from the parents.
Yeah, maybe we cut that one out.
So I remember growing up as well, like we were like literally polar opposites. I was, anything I did, I sucked at. If I did cross country, I'd get last. If I was at school, I was getting like D's and C's. And then I remember, like, with you, you were just good at everything. And still today, you are. Like, I remember with soccer, I'd be like the bench kid, and I'd be stoked if I got to have a play. But then you would be the dude literally scoring every goal for the whole team, every game, the whole season. And for a long time, when I was younger, I used to view it as like, oh, you're lucky you were born that way and stuff. And then as I've gotten older, I've realized that there's a certain lens and way that you view the whole world, where most people go, I want to get better, I need to just do more, or I need to bash the water harder. Whereas you always have this analytical way that you understand how things work on foundation principle levels. And Elon Musk talks a lot like this when he does his companies. Gets right down to the core drivers and builds it from the ground up. And so as I've gotten older, I've seen that in you, and then your story is a testament to that. But I reckon that started from as early as I can think of. You always found the smart way to do things, and then you were always ultra competitive, tough as nails, and always wanted to win. And it created this like ingredient pool of high performance. Like, talk us through, where did that mindset come from, and how did that develop as a child going into, say, because I remember even like you've got a 6-year-old long jump record on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, it still stands at Gold Coast Little Athletics.
So there was that. I remember you won the 100 meters. You were winning the soccer. We did a cross country event once. I remember you won that. Like, talk us through, what was it that did that, and what like triggered you to view the world that way?
Well, I think there's a lot to it, and I think it's each to their own as well. In terms of, you talk about how like I had that particular skill set. And then when you tried to emulate it, it wasn't quite there in the same way. But I think there's different skill sets for everyone. So you got to look at the context. Like, I'm the middle child. I'm younger than you. I came along, and basically I spent my whole childhood and my whole life through that era following along from whatever you created. Your skill set was being able to generate something that people can participate in and go and do. Not only was that with myself, with Brittany, our younger sister, but you'd be able to somehow get every kid that lived within a kilometre radius would somehow come along and just join in on whatever you created. And so from an early age, like, I was kind of, you can kind of view myself as I was just standing there ready to do something, but I didn't have the imagination or skill set to then create it or get the community involved. Whereas you came along, you would build something up out of nothing, like whether it's McEvoy Olympics, a random triathlon, whatever it may be, homeschooling on like school holidays or whatever it is, get us involved. And I'd be kind of like, I'd be plugged into whatever that is and I'm ready to go. And so from a young age, pretty much whatever you put forward, I was kind of eagerly waiting to do. And then I'd wait for the next thing to do, wait for the next thing to do. And then at that age, like, you're 3 years older as well. So going back to the school stuff, I'm grade 1, but you're teaching me grade 4 stuff. And so a lot of the stuff I would do would kind of be like maybe at an arm's reach in terms of the skill set I had at the time, or I wasn't quite ready for it, but then I'd be so eager to want to get in and do it that I guess at an early age, force myself how to do it, or maybe find the quicker ways to be able to participate as well as I can and join in. So I definitely say that was a huge factor to it growing up. And then outside of that, like, we played a lot of sport pretty much all the time. From I think I started soccer, swimming when I was like 4. Got into surf lifesaving shortly after. At school, we did heaps of sport. And so I think a combination of through childhood being around whatever you were creating, whatever everyone was doing in that sense, and then a more structured, I guess, general sporting upbringing. And then school as well, like, you're learning stuff and you're going through there. Kind of just molded into one, and I just became a sponge at wanting to kind of do them all as best I could.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you want to talk us through now how that evolved from backyard Olympics to then like early years in soccer, and then going through? Do you remember the first swim race we did at I think it was the Miami State High School pool there?
Yeah.
Pacific something. I can't remember what it was, and I remember you won by like 20 meters, and it was like under 5s or something. And everyone was like, "Who's this kid?" Like, and he went like a 33, and it was like there was no one in Australia we could find that had done faster times.
Yeah. So, well, I started swimming because you started swimming. You had your something at school, and you got 3rd. We hadn't really gone to any swim lessons before, aside from just learn to swim. And you were like, "Right, I want to give this a shot." I think James was a swimmer or swimming at that time. Yeah, he was first.
He still claims it.
Yeah, and so you wanted to go along with him,
Yeah.
and so me and Brittany ended up going along with you, and because of that, I got in the pool pretty early, and so yeah, right from the get go, like, I started swimming at like 3 or 4. You were in kind of the squad level there, and I'd get thrown in the back and just float around, and because you start something so young, you're more likely to pick it up a little bit quicker. And then I've just always had that affinity for water. So got back into that first swim comp. I remember it pretty vividly. I won most of the events, but I lost a few to Jack Hoth as well.
In the breaststroke.
The breaststroke and the butterfly. But yeah, despite that, it was awesome. Obviously, it was a big enough hook to get me in permanently. We started training at Miami Swim Club, and again, talking about culture, talking about the community around there. We joined the lower squads at that time, but then training at the exact same time were like 4 Olympians. There's Grant Hackett, Olympic gold medalist, multiple world champion. In 2003, so we were there for a couple of years. In 2003, Michael Phelps came over, and we could watch Hackett and Phelps race against each other in training, just on a regular Tuesday after school or something. It was the environment that we got exposed to was pretty special.
You got to see how the best operators.
Exactly, yeah. So you're 5, 6, 7. You're getting introduced to not only the sport and how to do it, but as in like how to actually swim technically. But you're getting introduced to what training is like, the philosophy behind training, how to apply yourself to it. And so, yeah, having access to people like Grant Hackett and then the others who are floating in and out like Phelps, Ian Thorpe, etc., that goes a long way. And then particularly as we got older too, like you would go into the higher level squads. So I'd get out and I'd have half an hour to wait on pool deck. So I have to kill time. So I'd go watch you guys swim, and I would, like, not all the time because it got pretty boring, but every now and again I'd sit down, I'd look at you guys swim, see the technique, and obviously it's much more developed, faster, everything like that. I'd see like how the body would move in freestyle and imagine what that would feel like if my body was moving like that, and kind of cling on to that feeling. And then the next session I'd take it into the pool and just try and recreate what I thought they would be feeling when they're swimming. So yeah, I just had endless avenues of exposure to very, very high performance and highly competent areas within sport at a young age.
But even that concept of watching those elements of how they swim and then try to replicate that at 10 or 11, that in itself is exceedingly rare. Like as a swimmer myself, I would watch them and be inspired, but I had never paid attention to those kind of elements. And then when I would try to improve in swimming, I would just try to hit the water harder or kick harder. And I think that's how 99% of the world, 99.99% of the world do everything, is that lens of analysis that you have is exceedingly rare. And I've seen you apply that to like pretty much every area of your life. And I think that's like a secret advantage that not many people really know about. That there's no way other 11-year-olds are doing that.
Yeah, well, like from my point of view, that was a natural. That's what I did. I did it and then didn't think anything of it. And it's only until recently where you've started to, I guess, probe into how I went about studying in school, how I went about my normal training and stuff like that, how I went about sport. And then I kind of describe it to you like, oh yeah, this is what I did. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. That's like, that makes sense in terms of this way of learning, this type of way of developing skills. And you have your entire, I guess, scientific background around how learning is done, how different people have different learning avenues, etc. So it's been pretty fascinating.
Absolutely. I think that's the key to success in a lot of areas of life, is how quickly you can learn and how effectively you can learn. For the parents out there listening who are going, oh my gosh, that's gold, like how do I get my kid to view the world that way? Can you remember any particular event or moment that the light bulb went off that got you to look at something that way, that potentially worked, that reinforced that? Because it's definitely not a normal attribute, and I think it's a sign of hyper-intelligence.
I think it would be the one thing that I remember vividly was in 2007, there was the World Championships down in Melbourne. It was Michael Phelps' first Worlds, where I think he won like 7 gold medals. This was a little bit later with the Soup pre-Beijing when he went 8 gold. Obliterated everything, but he got Thorpe's 200 freestyle world record. Everyone thought that was impossible to break, and he came out and obliterated it. And the way he swam was way different to anything I'd seen. So I watched that, and then the next day went into training, tried that. Probably definitely way different to how he did it, but it felt all right. And then I ended up dropping like 3 seconds per every 100 rep that I was doing. It was like instant feedback that, okay, that works. So yeah, that's probably like my most vivid memory of that actually working, and then getting that feedback of keep doing
Absolutely.
it. Like this is the way to go. I did that obviously before that many times, but it didn't click, didn't register. I didn't get that initial feedback as well. But that's definitely like, that was the moment where I was like, okay, this is definitely what I have to cling on to and develop. And pretty much from that moment on, a lot of my training revolved around like developing that feel and that intuition around how the body moves and everything like that.
100%. I can think of, for me, that's had to be a skill that I've spotted as a pattern in you and had to teach myself how to do it. And I feel like in the last few years I've gotten really good at it. But I remember the first time I applied that was when I was 16 and wanted to beat Dan, because he was win everything at the Nationals and we'd be in second. Yeah, I did the same thing. And and I remember watching Eamon Sullivan have that new way to dive where he would look like a hawk. And I watched that video 100 times and tried to copy it. And then 6 months later, I reckon that's the main reason I posted the fastest time in the world as a 16-year-old was I got a body length on everyone to the 15.
Yeah.
And I just wish I had learnt that skill younger, because it's something that compounds. And I think the earlier a child can start viewing the life through the lens of understanding the mechanics that drive you forward, as opposed to just trying harder randomly. That like compounds and builds, and then eventually you end up being in your 30s and winning the Olympics, like you said. So talk us through going from, say, number one as an 11, 12-year-old to then watching everyone around you grow and slowly feel like you're falling back, and then how you rebounded from that into 15, 16, and how that led into, I guess, the campaign that put you as the number 100 freestyle in the world going into the Rio Olympics.
Yeah, so puberty sucks in the sense where
if you're on the bad side.
Yeah,
I was on the good side.
Yeah, it just sucks generally. Like, you go through a lot of stuff. But in the swimming world, like when I was 10, 11, 12, we had the school sports system. I did really well through that, won a lot of national titles. But I'll never forget, it was grade 5, first nationals, went to marshalling room, and like I was pretty tiny for 10. And I sat down, and some dude from New South Wales, never heard of before.
Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony Trong sat down next to me. I didn't even hit his shoulder in height, and he had a mustache. But I didn't get a mustache until I was like mid-20s, and this guy's in grade 5 next to me with one. So I ended up, I won the 50 free that comp, but lost a few of the other ones to that guy. Even on the podium, like, I'm on the first one. That's higher than second and third. This guy's third, and he's taller than me on that one. So like, I had pretty adverse, I guess, an uneven battleground through that type of stuff. So I was winning through like 10 and 12, and then 13, 14, 15. Each year, no matter how hard I tried in training, I got worse in terms of the rankings. So I'd go to nationals. When I was 13, I made the final. I got maybe 4th or 5th. When I was 14, I missed qualifying for some of my events, and then just made the final on like my main ones. And it kind of snowballed like that, which definitely was the first, I guess, type of resiliency test that I went throughout my, if you could call that the start of my career. And that was hell. Like, that was a lot to go through. But the silver lining behind that was I had mum and dad, I had everyone around me telling me, like, right, eventually this is going to even out. Like, you're going to go through some pretty tough stuff while that's happening, but eventually it'll even out. And so the only thing you have left to do is focus on what you can control and what you can actually develop. And so in that period, in my early teens, I basically only had one option, and that was learn how to train. So I was forced to learn how to, I guess, squeeze as much as I could out of every element of training. I had to learn how to, I guess, become tougher in training, in the sense where I had to intentionally put myself into very uncomfortable positions to basically get better, because I couldn't just walk past a pool or a gym like these other guys and drop half a second in my 50 free because, puberty. So that was pretty rough. And then as I started to, like, 15, 16, 17, as I went through those years and onwards, the ball caught up, which was great. And so I had this deep, I guess, ability to know how to train.
And you were primed by then. Because I remember you being 13 and we were training at Somerset College because the pool was being done at Miami. And I remember you just joined Dennis's squad. Yeah. And he was just, because you're always like a psycho trainer. And I remember he was like going to town on you. Yeah. And I was so used to him going to town on me and being like the kid in the squad that got punished. And that's probably why I got good at Totem Butterfly. But and I just remember watching you one day like nearly in tears because he was like, just nothing was good enough. Yeah. And I don't think a lot of people know that, you've been through phases like that where you've been grilled and the pressure's on from every angle, and it hasn't just been a smooth sail to the top. Yeah, well, the type of training I was doing at that time, I was introduced to, so Dennis Cottrell's squad, for context, that's the squad Grant Hackett was in when he was winning Olympic gold medals. A lot of Olympic gold medalists have come out of that squad. And it's a distance squad too. So yeah, so I'm 13, I'm jumping in the pool, I'm doing 70 kilometers a week in the water. To put that into further context, swim to run is about a 1 to 4. So multiply that by 4. That's about the rough amount of kilometers we were running, so to speak, but swimming. 280 kilometers. Yeah, 280 kilometers a week, and that was standard. And every single lap, he would time like every turn, every lap. And if you did one thing wrong, it was like bang, punishment. Yeah, I remember. So we had this massive session. It was 8K session, and we finished it off with 450s.
20-meter sprint, swim through, and we weren't allowed to breathe on the 20 meters, and like my lungs were cooked. So I breathed on I think it was the second round, I breathed at 15 meters, didn't think he'd sit. He saw it, finished the 450s, 8K done, and he goes to me, he's like, right, if you like breathing so much, let's do 40-50s backstroke, max on 45 seconds. You can breathe all you want on your back, I don't care, but you're doing this because you're getting punished. And so I ended up doing like over 10K that session.
Yeah.
The whole time, like every 2 laps I'm coming in those 40-50s, he's just yelling at me. And I'm 13 at the time, like what the hell is going on? So yeah, like definitely trial by fire was that period.
It was like scarier to go to training than to compete.
Yeah, like I spent most of my time at school not thinking about school. I was just thinking about what type of session we might be doing that afternoon, how badly I'm going to do it, and like how many coals I'm going to get raked over, and that's about it.
Yeah. But at the same time, though, Dennis had massive expectations, and he would stay there till like 8 o'clock at night for like a 13-year-old. And
yeah, well, that's
he was
the
so
thing.
passionate and obsessed. But when you saw him out of the pool, he was like a legend.
Yeah, well,
it was
even
just how he coached.
I've still got a good relationship with Dennis. I see him on pool deck at World Championships, Olympics now. And that was the thing. It could be a generational thing. So like he's a lot older, to put it that way. So generationally, that was his way of seeing potential and trying to grow it. And yeah, I mean, I would love to have had it differently, just being in my own nature. But there are subsets of people that respond to that really well. But yeah, like coming out of it, looking back on it, I can look back and see the intentions were there. It was almost like a okay, I'm not going to say it was a privilege to hit 70K a week, a lot, but he saw the potential in where I could possibly go, and he tried his best to try and bring that forward. So yeah.
Absolutely. And then fast forward to your 15 at the Sydney Olympic pool in the 100 final, and you throw down, what was it, a low 51? And I was 18 at Nationals and threw down a 51 and got 4th. And you just did it at 15. Tell us through, what was that like after 2 or 3 years of just going backwards and not being able to go to then having that rapid breakthrough? And that was really the breakthrough moment where everyone was like, who is this kid?
Yeah, so the year before at Nationals, I didn't qualify for the 50 I barely qualified for the 100 free. I had my distance events, didn't do too great. This year came out with, I think I had 2 or 3 gold medals, a lot of silvers, a few bronzes. And that 100 free, it was weird because I went into that comp training I had 1 week of 400 training, 1 week of 200 training, and then all of a sudden my 50 and my 100, my sprint events dropped like massive amounts over that year. So I was springboarded onto the national team at that time. I had my first international travels. I went to China that year, competed over there, and basically went from someone who was almost to the point where I'd accepted that, okay, swimming's probably not for me. I'm kind of just falling behind, to, okay, like where is this going to take me? Should I take this seriously? Where do I sit? How much more wiggle room do I have left going forward? So yeah, it was those years were a massive changing point, and really, I guess, put me on the path to where I am now.
Absolutely. And the year before that was when I posted the first time in the world as a 16-year-old.
Yep. And raced over in Guam at the Junior Pan Packs.
And then I was like, oh no, he's beat me. And then it began. And then from there, you went on to 16. And I still remember, I didn't get to go watch the Age Nationals, but I remember Dad filming the video. And we were like, oh, if you can go like a 50-pointer, it'd be good. And you ended up going like 49 low or something and beat Ian Thorpe's record.
Yeah, I got Thorpe's record by 0.01.
And Dad went so psycho that people told him off.
Yeah,
talk us through that.
Yeah,
you won that by like 20 meters or something.
It was that 100 freestyle at 16 when I got Thorpe's record by 0.01 that made me realize I could maybe go to the Olympics. That was 2011. 2012 was the following year. Didn't think I had 2012 in mind. I had Rio in mind in 2016. But that was a swim where I finished. I checked the rankings at Nationals for the open guys, and I think I was sitting 9th or something like that. And they took 5 or 6 for the relay. And so in my head, I was like, right, I'm a stone's throw away. Like, keep training. Maybe I make it in a couple of years and I can go to Rio. But that kickstarted, and it just exponentially grew from there. Then the following year, I dropped much more time, I got onto the Olympic team. I was 17 when I first qualified. And that kickstarted my open career. I've been on the national team every year since that. And basically between 2012 and 2016 was just every year was one step forward up the rankings. So if I got to, I guess, number one in Australia, then I went to 2013 World Champs and I got fourth place. And I was like 0.17 of winning the World Champs in 2013 at 18. So I was like, okay, this is really moving fast. Hit Commonwealth Games, hit 2015 World Champs, and then before I knew it, I was going into Rio as world number one in the 100 freestyle. I had the textile world record in the 100 freestyle at that time. 50 freestyle, 200 freestyle, they were on the repertoire. I had relays as well. And yeah, it really, that 4-year period was almost like you blink and you miss it. It was crazy.
100%. And what's the wildest is that, for anyone watching, the Cam's 2016 100 freestyle time, we went 47.04.
Yep.
And that was the fastest in the world. I'm still the thumbnail in the video. From how psycho.
If you Google Cam McEvoy 100 freestyle 2016,
this is photo
the
of me
thumbnail
like
is him. He looks like he's going like Super Saiyan 3. Looks like Goku. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
In the next episode, Hayden dives into Cam stepping fully into the elite space, racing James Magnussen, joining one of Australia's strongest relay teams, and the Pan Packs on the Gold Coast. Join us in the next episode to improve your A game.